All right, hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining us here as of this Monday afternoon. Channel 3 meteorologist Matt Wentz with you. We have a very dangerous storm right now that continues to head through areas of Trumbull County. This is in the extreme eastern half of our viewing area. We have a tornado warning that goes until 1:45 for a storm that continues to work its way through the southern part of Trumbull County here as of this afternoon. So let's start with the big picture radar now. You can see we've had just a general rainfall across a good portion of northeast Ohio afternoon, but there are some very heavy downpours in a portion that's heading out of the Youngstown area in Mahoning County, and that is moving into Trumbull County. Seen the rotation weaken here over the last 5 or 10 minutes, and as a result the National Weather Service has expired that tornado warning early, but I still want to make sure we know what's going on here in Trumbull County because this storm is still packing a punch. So we'll dive on in now. Again, this tornado warning is now allowed to expire, but this is a cell we're looking at. We've had heavier rain stretching back into areas of Portage County and southern areas of Geauga County. This cell right here heading into the Cortland, Warren, and the Niles here. It hasn't been a real tight indication of rotation, but enough for the tornado warning to be issued by the National Weather Service, and I certainly agree with that. So areas in the path of this storm, it continues its track off to the north and east around 20 or 25 miles per hour. Goldendale, Lordstown, you just saw the brunt of the area of storm and see the little areas of wind that are spinning or rotating, and that is the reason within this heavier shower and thunderstorm that we have moving north and east that they've issued that tornado warning, which the good news is, as I mentioned, has been allowed to expire. You can see the general motion for no condition of severe weather or any rotation that I'm seeing on radar anywhere else in northeast Ohio. Geauga County, you're just fine. Lake County, Ashtabula County, you're fine as well. It's just this little area heading through areas of southern Trumbull County that we've watched some rotation. It was really west of Canfield that we watched it. Tightened up a little bit, pretty much right over 80, and then it's kind of out a little bit. So the storm is rotating within the heavier rain that we have, but the good news is that rotation has become broad enough. Tornado. This is going to be a storm that we need to watch. So if you're in Trumbull County, anywhere to the north and east of this, up towards Cortland, I know you're a little bit far away from this. You're just now beginning some of the rainfall, but it might be a good idea just to be in a safe place just in case, because as I mentioned, the storm is still showing some signs of rotation as it continues its track north and east. This should Trumbull County here in the next half hour to 45 minutes. It may clip southeastern portions of Ashtabula County near the Andover area, over towards the state line as you get over towards Hartstown and the PA side of things. So I would be on alert in that portion of our viewing area as well. But other than that, everyone else that's watching this on WKYC.com right now, you are in the clear in terms of severe weather. This isn't going to be a robust severe weather kind of day. This just happens to be a storm that has rotation with it, mixed with a thunderstorm. We saw the lightning really ramp up right before this started to show the signs of rotation. So that indicates it's got some energy with this thunderstorm. But again, outside of this storm, I'm not seeing a huge tornado threat or anything like that across the rest of the viewing area. So as I mentioned, southern Trumbull County, you're in the warning zone right now in terms of this strong storm that continues to show some signs of rotation. That's a warning to expire. I didn't see any reports of a tornado reported. This is all radar indicated. But again, this storm was likely producing a wall cloud, I would imagine, with the amount of rotation that was there. This is going to be a storm that we're going to continue to watch as it goes through Trumbull County, because I don't think that threat's quite over yet. Things we look at, I'm going to throw the lightning on the radar here. Lightning is indicative of strong updrafts and downdrafts, which indicates you have a healthy thunderstorm, and that's certainly what we have. It's really ramping up in County the last half hour. A lot of atmospheric energy, so this thing could perhaps be recycling some of this rotation. It may strengthen up again. It may not, but again, this is going to be a storm that we're going to have to keep close. as it continues its track off to the north and the east. So the bigger picture looks like this. We've had a general rainfall across the greater Cleveland area, Geauga County. You're getting some pretty decent rain right now, but there's not even any lightning or thunder with that. You can see where all that lightning and thunder is. It's with this storm that was warned moving out of the Youngstown area right now and into southern Trumbull County. So that storm's got a little bit more gusto than the rest of them, and that's why this is really the only storm that concerns me out there. Everyone else is dealing with a nice garden-quenching downpour that we've had throughout the afternoon. So the latest radar scan here, I've got a little radar off to the side that we're keeping our eye on the wind inside that storm, and any signs of rotation on the latest scan. That's some good news. We do have pretty gusty winds at the onset of this, moving right through Niles right now, approaching Route 11 as you head north and south out of Trumbull County. Howland Center, Warren, seeing some gusty winds right now. You're hearing the thunder for sure, as we've got quite a few lightning strikes here in the last 5 minutes. Other areas impacted by this, Girard, McDonald, as you get down towards the Mahoning County line, you're seeing some pretty strong winds, some lightning and rain. But again, that rotation turned out a little bit. It's become a little less compact than it was earlier, and that's certainly a good sign of things to come. So let's show you on the radar here. I'm going to switch this over to our velocity mode so you can see what I'm talking about in terms of this. Likely isn't going to give you a good picture in terms of some of those stronger winds. We'll take the lightning off the map here. See that area where we have the red and the green. The green is wind going toward the radar. The red is wind going away from the radar. So in this case, I've got the Cleveland radar pulled up. So I'm going to pause this here. And we've got wind going this direction off towards the north end of things. And then this little notch right here, we've got wind that's going that direction. It's actually backwards. So wind going, doesn't really matter. It's going that way and this way. But bottom line, it's this little area here, this little notch down to the south of Warren there, that continues to show some signs of rotation. Again, I don't think it's tight enough right now to be producing a tornado. The Weather Service obviously doesn't, or agrees as well. There is no tornado warning for this storm anymore, but this is still a very strong thunderstorm, and it's a storm with some energy that we certainly need to watch as it moves through areas of southern and eventually southeastern Trumbull County. So some areas impacted directly by that area rotation that we're watching. What you're likely seeing with that are some gusty winds. You've got the heavy rain and lightning, but you're not seeing an immediate tornado threat right now. There may be a wall cloud or a funnel cloud up in the air. There are no signs that that thing's going to lower as of right now with this latest scan as the storm becomes a little bit more linear. But you can see the areas impacted. Girard right now, that rotation's right over. I mentioned McDonald earlier, areas along 422. I mentioned Route 11 as well. This will be passing over those areas shortly, just east of the Weathersfield area. And again, this is heading hours. So a real mover. You're going to have this storm. It's thick outside. So with all that moisture in place, if there is a funnel cloud or anything that's likely rain wrapped, it's not going to be something that's going to be real pretty to look at or anything like that. But the threat, I think, will go for another half hour or so. I mean, this storm is still showing real decent signs of lightning within it. So keep a close eye on this storm all the way through Trumbull County here. If you're in the Cortland community, I think the bulk of the storm's going to pass right over you or down towards the south. It's tracking in this direction here. So Vienna over towards Hartford, the path of this storm, and eventually it'll cross over into the state line. I mentioned southeastern Ashtabula County. We need to keep a close eye on this storm up towards Kinsman and the Andover area as well, but I do think that's just the south and east of you. So that's what we're dealing with. So if you're just joining WKYC.com. Again, we had a tornado warning for Trumbull County. It also included Mahoning County, which is where Youngstown is located. That has since been allowed to expire. So we are not dealing with the tornado warning right now. What we are dealing with is a strong thunderstorm that's still showing some signs of rotation, but I don't see an immediate threat right now in southern Trumbull County. Although we need to keep a close eye on the storm because sometimes those storms kind of recycle. That air gets disrupted a little bit and then it can quickly spin up again. So still seeing some signs of rotation. I got another radar scan in here. This is right over McDonald right now, Girard and Churchill in the storm. I another minute or two, not for the rain, not for the lightning, you're already seeing that, but for that rotation that we're keeping a close eye on. That will extend over towards Howland Center here, and then it's got eyes to the north and east in the Cortland, Yankee Lake, Brookfield Center, and eventually the Orangeville community. So if I know Youngstown networks carry the coverage as well, but a lot of you have reached out during past tornado events and said, thanks for the coverage, because we weren't getting that coverage from Youngstown that we needed. So we do have a lot of viewers in that area. They get kind of both channels. They're very lucky in that case. But a lot of you over there, if you're in the Orangeville community, Yankee Lake, or the Howland Center area, it might be safe to head to the basement or an interior room just in case while you keep this stream going here on WKYC.com. So again, that rotation continues north and east. Outside of that, I'm not seeing any concern anywhere else. So as I mentioned, Geauga County, you're just fine. This will eventually head up into Ashtabula County. This is not a big severe weather event kind of day. This is simply... I'm going to pull the radar back up again so we can take a look at where the rain is. This is simply kind of a rogue storm with an area low pressure that we have moving through. We do have a little bit of shear in the atmosphere, so there's a little twisting, and that is what has spun up this area, which is now since, but still watching it closely here. Community. So what we've got going on the rest of the afternoon, I'm not anticipating any severe weather. This is really watch out of Trumbull County. We've got a general rainfall, though, in Ashtabula, Geauga, and Lake County. Akron, Cleveland, you saw that on out, so we should start to clear things out. It's really this cell as it moves through Trumbull County that's going to give us some problems here. And you can almost see the rotation on that. The area low pressure is really close to this, so it could be tapping into some of that. You can kind of see this cell right here as it heads north and east. You can kind of see a little spin with that, and that's our concern here as well. I'm going to check hail real quick to make sure. I know we had some small hail. That wasn't the big concern with this storm. We've still got a decent amount of hail with the latest check here. This is probably going to be on the pea-size scale, maybe dime-size hail. A lot of it, when I'm looking at the radar, you can see up into the cloud. That's hail. A lot of this, by the time it reaches the ground, melts, especially with our warm, humid atmosphere we have. But we're likely getting some dime-size hail over McDonald right now. Youngstown, Austintown, seeing some hail as this advances north and east. Pretty decent storm. From the Weather Center, from National Weather Service, they're saying strong storms affecting eastern Trumbull. This is what we're talking about here. But they're not issuing a tornado warning for this, which I totally agree with because that rotation has weakened a bit. So we'll go back to our wind radar again. When you're looking at the radar that you see right now with all the bright red and greens, that's called our reflectivity radar. That's the one you see on your phone. That's the one that you're probably familiar with if you're a weather fanatic or even just a casual weather user. When you look at that radar does not show tornadoes whatsoever. All right, that shows simply rain, and it shows how heavy it is and it shows how light the rain is. Can we see tornadoes from that? Sure, but what meteorologists use and some weather fanatics that have velocity radars, we look inside the storm and we match it up with where the storm is, where that heavy rain is that you can see, and we can look at the winds inside that storm, and that's where you get that red and green radar from that you are accustomed to seeing during tornado warnings. That shows us the wind inside those thunderstorms, and when you match them up with the thunderstorm and you match up the wind that is showing signs of rotation perhaps with those reds and greens close to each other, that's where you start to get into the not just rotating category, but if it's tight enough, the Weather Service issues a tornado warning. You may have a wall cloud or a funnel cloud with that, and that's where kind of how we've gotten here as of this afternoon. So Niles, we've got some strong winds right now moving through. That's kind of what this storm has developed into, has been more of a hail, very heavy rain, lots of lightning, and a little pocket of strong wind producer, more so than a tornado risk as of right now. So the strongest winds inside the storm, remember this radar right here is showing rain. So this is all of rain, heading around 11 right now. Weathersfield, Girard, heading north and east, but the little pocket of strong winds that we're seeing is right in here. Likely, I would say 40 to maybe 40 winds. It doesn't look like anything too crazy, but again, this is getting further over to the Pittsburgh because that tends to be closer. and sometimes you get good coverage, and that's indicating the same thing, a little pocket of strong winds right there, and that's continuing off towards the north of the east. If you don't have that pocket of strong winds, you're going to get some hail and lots of lightning as well. We'll throw the lightning back on here. It's definitely a storm you want to come inside for if you happen to be working outside or whatever it is that takes you outdoors. It's certainly not the place to be right now. You can see that prolific lightning that we have as this continues to track over into Pennsylvania right now. But outside of this Trumbull County storm, nothing else severe. There's nothing else that I'm concerned with. It's really just this extreme county that we're going to continue to watch here throughout the afternoon. But that tornado threat, by and large, looks like it has left us right now, as we've got just some gusty winds within this, some hail. It's a nasty storm, but we've lost that rotation, which is good news. And this will continue over towards the Pymatuming Lake area, and eventually Greenville on the PA side of things. All right, so I'm going to leave with that as the storm heads on out. We're going to go back to just tracking the storm kind of offline and on our social media channels, and we'll keep you updated on WKYC.com. Our next TV site on what's new, I'll have an update then. I'm in for tonight, and we'll obviously look for the reports out of this. But overall, we've got a decent storm in Trumbull County, but it's not severe right now. It's producing some small hail, heavy rain. We'll be out of there shortly, and then we're just dealing with rain after that. All right, so thanks for joining us here on WKYC.com, and stay tuned for more here as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon.